Welcome back to the Checkered Flags and Moneybags podcast. I am your host, Phil Craig. This week we will be previewing the Bristol Food City 500. Before we get to that, let's take a look back the last couple weeks when I have not been on to bring you a preview. Sorry about that. But let's take a look at those, back at those real quick. We had Vegas a couple weeks ago. I really thought that Kyle Busch was going to come back and have a great race there. He was fast, but had some problems on pit road. Also, same thing with Chastain. That's what really cost me on in the book for that week. So I took a pretty hard hit, about a 32% loss that week. Did get the winner with Larson. That was kind of a no-brainer for that week. He was one of the ones that I picked to win. And then followed that up last week at Phoenix. Did have Seabell to win, got that one, but once again took a little bit of a loss. So for the season right now, down about 20%. So not having such a great season so far. Been right there with the winners just about every week. I've had two. I had two others that were really close to wins, just not getting the results with the rest of the picks just quite yet. So hopefully we can turn that around this week at Bristol. Big favorite in a lot of people's books as far as this track. So when we go to take a look at this week, it is a little difficult because we have never seen the next-gen car on the Bristol concrete in the spring. It's been, that we've known that race to be this race to be covered in dirt the past few years. So this is the first time. So we really don't have technically any data to go by. So really, all we can do is look back at some of the late summer, early fall races that we've had there at Bristol. So looking at those, I think probably the biggest favorite coming into this week is going to be Kyle Larson. He is running pretty good starting off this season, except for last week. Obviously, none of the Hendrick cars ran well at Phoenix, but Larson has just been lights out on this track. So this is some of his recent results here at Bristol. Second, fifth, first, sixth, had a 19th. That was a rough night. A second, a ninth, and a sixth. So definitely a favorite coming into this race. He is, however, not one of the ones that I have picked to win. We'll get to that in just a second. But the other favorite is probably going to be two favorites, really, Hamlin and Christopher Bell. Hamlin obviously won this race last September, his third victory at Bristol. Once he got the lead there in that third stage, he just ran off and smoked him for the rest of the race. Christopher Bell, another one that I think has a really good chance of winning this week. Very good chance of winning. The last two races here, he has led a total of 330 laps. And then the last race back in September, he ran the entire race without ever getting outside of the top 10. His lowest position that he was in for the entire race was ninth. That is completely unheard of. During a caution, you figure you're coming into pits, some people stay out. You're going to drop to 15th to 20th before they either pit or you pass them starting the next green flag run. But to actually stay inside the top 10 for the entire race at all points is pretty crazy. Let's look at some other guys who have had some good success here in the past. Kyle Busch, obviously, if you're going to talk about Bristol, you've got to talk about Kyle. The current out of the current drivers, he's by far the one with the most wins. He's got 8 wins here at this track. However, his last few races, not quite so good. Once again, we're not talking about any of the dirt races here. These are strictly the races that have been run on concrete. So his last 3 results here, Nothing inside the top 20. He's got a 20th, a 34th, and a 21st. So not the results that he's really looking for. Even though he did get 3 wins last year, that team really struggled quite a bit. It was his first season with RCR, so there's some ups and downs to be expected, but they really need to get that turned around. He did look pretty fast in practice today. Didn't get quite the qualifying result that he would have liked, but there were some cars that were pretty fast in practice that are not starting up front, and get to that as well in just a minute here. Somebody that this one's going to be a little bit contradictory because he did qualify so well. He is starting inside the top 10. I believe he might even be on the front row. It's Joey Logano. I don't have the starting lineup in front of me. Sorry about that. But I know he was up there. But here's his last 5 results. 34th, 27th, 11th, 11th, and 21st. I don't care where you start. If you can't finish the race, then that's obviously the most important thing. So, yeah, he might be starting up front, but I'm fading Logano. I'm not putting any trust in him this week. Another guy that we want to take a look at here, Chris Buescher. He won here 2 years ago in the late summer race. His last 6 races, I'm sorry. The last 6 races, the winner has started inside the top 5 positions, with the exception of Buescher, who started that race 20th a couple years ago when he won. If he's going to win again this year, it's going to have to be something similar. He's going to have to come from even further back because I believe he is starting almost at the very end of the field. He might be starting last. I can't remember. There were some cars, like I said, that had some really bad qualifying laps. Chastain comes to mind. He had one of the fastest cars in practice today. And Buescher, and there was one other I can't think of off the top of my head right now. Yeah, I can't think of who that was. But guess that's something I probably should have had in front of me, was the starting lineup. But who else did I want to take a look at first here? Gibbs. Ty Gibbs. He led... Is that correct? He led 431 laps last summer. And, is that the last? Let's forget about that one. I don't know what I had there. I know he didn't lead that many laps. Maybe it was. No. Forget about that one. I can't remember what I had written down there. Obviously, he did not lead that many laps, but I believe it was the Toyotas. That's what it was. The Toyotas led 431 of the 500 laps in last year's race. That's what I had meant to put, not Gibbs, but the Toyotas. I am pretty high on the Toyotas going into this race. There are a lot of Fords that showed a lot of speed, obviously, in qualifying, and they are going to be tough. But let's get to the cars that I believe have a shot to win this race this weekend, or the ones that I am betting on at least. My car to win right off the bat here, don't really have anything to say that any recent results on this track, or even any other track really, but I just got a feeling that the 6 car Brad Keselowski is due. I think it's his week to finally get off the schneid, break that long losing streak, and get back to victory lane. So he is going to be my number one pick to win this race this week. He's been at plus 1,500. He's probably even a little bit more now after qualifying, since he did not get into the top 10. I think he is starting 11th. Obviously, like I said, I really like Bell. His odds aren't so good this week, but I do feel like if he doesn't win, I think he's going to be a second or third place car. I really think he's going to be a top 3 guy. He was the other one that didn't have a very good qualifying run, although he was pretty fast, really fast in practice. So look for him to move through the field very quickly once the race gets started. Hamlin, his odds are not so good either, but I really like Hamlin. He's at around 550 is what I found him. These were all pre-qualifying. That's part of the reason why I haven't gotten my podcast out the last couple of weeks. I've waited till after qualifying to get my bets in, and the odds, the books just aren't getting those odds out until very late Saturday night, and Sundays are really tough for me to get a podcast off. Chris Buescher, I like him, even though he is starting towards the back of the field. I got him at plus 1,500. Probably don't like him quite so much after qualifying. I bet his top 10 odds might be more favorable tomorrow before the race, since he did have such a bad qualifying run. This is one of those tracks where it's just hard to come back from starting that bad, because you get that pit stall on the backside. On the backside straightaway, and I think maybe only one driver has ever won from there. Like I said, it's usually somebody in the top 5. A lot of people win from the pole position here. So look for Blaney to be up there. I do not have his odds, although I'm sure that they have dropped dramatically since qualifying. Larson, I do have as a top 5. I found him at pretty good odds at minus 110 at MGM for a top 5. So I jumped on that. I don't really like to go into the minus numbers too much. About 120, 130 would be probably the most I would ever give up. It's just I don't like giving up a lot of juice in the in racing as opposed to other sports. It's a lot different than, say, football or basketball, as far as, you can usually find some good odds on the plus side. Top 10s, got to look at Michael McDowell. Gosh, this guy is just always in the top 10 at this track. Plus 240 on Bet365. Got to hammer that one. Chase Elliott. This number is going to drop dramatically. Elliott for a top 10. He was also plus 100 on Bet365. Actually, this site has the best top 10 odds. All my top 10 bets this week are on Bet365. The odds were better there than anywhere else. Hocevar at plus 300. Bad qualifying lap for him. And then I've got Gregson and Briscoe, both at plus 275. Briscoe's kiss that one goodbye if you haven't jumped on that one already, because I believe he's starting 6th, very fast in practice and in qualifying. So that number you're not going to be able to find after the odds come back up late tonight or tomorrow morning. Oh, what else we got? Okay. Oh, the winning car number. Over under is at 13.5. I had to jump on this. I took the under. You just look at all of the cars that are that are on the under that I get here. You know, you get Chastain, you get let's see, we got Barry, who is second or third starting tomorrow. Great short track guy. You got Larson, Keselowski, Kyle Busch. Chase Elliott is showing some really good speed right now. And then, like I said, Gregson, Hamlin, and Blaney, the pole sitter. So you give me all those cars, you got a pretty good shot at winning. So I jumped on the under for that one. And then just going off of the history as far as finishes here at this track, I've got Byron over Blaney these are all heads up finishes. Byron over Blaney. We got Busch over Reddick. Reddick is really struggling. Was not looking good in practice or qualifying. Corey LaJoie over Austin Dillon. Austin Dillon just does not run well at this track at all. LaJoie, some ups and downs, but he has shown some speed here at times. So both of those are at 110. Byron was minus 105 over Blaney. Chastain over Busch. He's going to have a long way to go to come from the back, but like I say, he was one of the faster cars in practice, so I'm pretty confident in that. Buescher, once again, going to have to come from the back, but I have him over Reddick as well. There was one other one I had over Reddick, but I think it was Chastain over Reddick, but I ended up not putting that one in. McDowell over Bowman, hammer that one. That was at minus 110 at Caesars. Probably not going to find that one again with McDowell being inside the top 10. Bowman, I believe, starting 20th, 19th, somewhere in there, or was it further? I don't know what's wrong with that 48 team. You've got 3 of the Hendrick cars starting inside the top 10, and then Bowman, he is just out there and just have no clue what's going on with that team, but not looking good. And then there was one fun bet that I had to jump in there on Caesars. If you like just the if you don't want to go with the traditional bets and you really like the fun ones, get over to Caesars book because they've got just a ton of stuff. Larson and Bell both for a top 3, plus 650 at Caesars. I just seemed like something fun to throw in there at the end that I really liked, and so I got in on that one. What was the other? Oh, the group betting. Where they have 4, sometimes 5 drivers that really only give you odds up to usually around 300, 250 to 300 for the best odds out of those. I'm not really into those. If you like those, check them out. Sometimes you can find some really good bargains in there. Keselowski was in one I seen today at plus 275 to beat, it's to beat 3 other drivers, and I think he's easily got all 3 of those covered. I don't remember what group that was in, but that's the thing is, you don't have to win the race. You just have to beat the 3 other drivers, and you get some decent odds. Not the type of bets that I really like to jump in on, though. Let's see if I don't think I really had anything else. I do have one on the truck race tonight. Christian Eckes dominated this race last September, and Corey Heim jumped in there and stole it away from him. So I do have Eckes for a top 3 at plus 175. He came in just behind Kyle on the first stage. We got it on here in the background. How's he doing? Have you seen? Are they done with the second stage yet? You ready to come in and give your pick? All right, let's bring on our favorite guest picker of the Checkered Flags and Money Bags podcast, the lovely Miss Olivia. Oh, we got our friend Pip this week. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. So you've been on here, no, you've only been on once so far, right? Let's see, Daytona, you told me you were picking Byron for Daytona though, right?
Yeah.
And then you came back and you gave your pick for Atlanta. You picked him again because
Yeah.
he won the first week. Was that why you picked him again, or is it because you just like Byron?
I like Byron.
You just like Byron, don't you? Okay. So let's see. We're at the half-mile track of Bristol this week. It is called the Last Great Coliseum. Got stands all the way around the track. So, short track, who you got?
William Byron.
William Byron again. I'm starting to see a little bit of a pattern here. I think I might know who you're going to pick every race this year. All right, folks. Hope you enjoyed the podcast. Short one this week. So, hope all your bets hit. Good luck. And go get that bag.